Hello and welcome to Hoax Folks, where it's just a hoax, folks, so don't get caught up in it. And today we are going to be talking about skinwalkers. And before I continue, I would like to wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have a nice night too. I don't know what time you're going to be listening this to, but I hope it's good. So, moving on, I'm not going to be citing any sources because this is common folklore and I found it in more than 3 places. I'll put a source or two in the bottom, so if you want to do your own research, you know where to begin. But if you look up skinwalkers, you're gonna find thousands of results. So let's begin. First, I want to begin with what a you know skinwalker is considered and where we think they come from. And we think they come from the Navajos, and more specifically, we think that, and I'm just gonna read the definition of what a skinwalker is, because I found a definition. In Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a type of heartful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The term is never used for healers. So healer is never called a skinwalker. It's part of the Navajo tradition, which is why I think they're very common in New Mexico, the area I'm from, or it's common folklore, is because it's in New Mexico and that's where the Navajos are right now. I'm pretty sure. They're in New Mexico. I'm just gonna say with a lot of confidence. I've been there. I've been to the Navajo reservations and stuff. They're pretty nice, actually. Can't even lie. I've seen the big casino. I've been to Albuquerque. It's nice. Anyway, moving on. The thing about this is, we hear about it a lot. We hear about it from like older people, and I live all the way hundreds of miles away. And they say, watch out for the skinwalkers. Don't look out whistle at night. And I remember when I was younger, always that we just like look out for skinwalkers. Now that I'm older, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty superstitious. I'm out there like, oh goodness, I'm just gonna not go into the fields by my house at night. Don't want to run into a skinwalker, and it's like a common thing. Now, moving on, I don't think a skinwalker is honestly a witch. Although they call them witches, I think it's more of a being that a witch would make, if that makes sense. Because I don't think that, oh, a witch is just like, oh, I'm gonna do this. No, because something that possesses something I would consider a spirit or some kind of demonic being, and I don't consider a witch to be demonic in and of itself, as it can't make itself a spirit and then possess things, but I could see it using spirits to possess things, and I also could see them not having control of it, which would explain skinwalkers. And I also think that some tradition and rituals and curses make skinwalkers, and I like to get further into it because that's what it talks about, and that's what's talked about commonly around here, is that, oh yeah, don't go around there, the Indians curse the land after they are killed, and that's a common theme in all my episodes is, oh, someone cursed the land, and then all of a sudden skinwalkers start showing up. Wonder what happened here, and it's usually they killed an Indian tribe, and then it was cursed. I'm not saying there's correlation, because similarities don't equal correlation, but there's a lot of similarities, and I think it's safe to assume there's some type of correlation, because every time I do research, it's rather aliens or skinwalkers. Not skinwalkers, but Navajos cursing the land and paranormal activity happening, i.e., including skinwalkers. But that's one of the things that comes with, I think, the Navajo curse is skinwalkers because, they're considered bad juju. Skinwalkers are bad juju in Navajo culture, and so I would assume that they just come with curses. So moving off that, I'd like to add in the thought that aliens is a second thing that comes, and so that's why I think it's a less probable thing, although I'm not saying aliens don't exist. It makes more sense in my mind that Indians curse the land compared to aliens, because why would aliens want to mess with this land? And I also think the correlation follows with aliens because people are going to try and explain the unexplained with explainable things, and it's more reasonable to say aliens with big technology than it is, oh, there's a curse on the land and there's demons coming out of hell and demonic beings are here to haunt us. So moving on, skinwalkers. What do I know about them? Not much. I just know they're kind of creepy looking. They usually transform into this weird spirit looking, and that goes like on all fours. If you've seen The Exorcist, you know what I'm talking about. That weird thing that crawls on all fours. Exorcist, any exercise kind of movie. And they turn into animals. They can teleport. They can go around. They're known for all kinds of things, and they come in very different shapes and sizes. It's also said that skinwalkers can look like your friends and family and also sound like them too. So if you heard of Siren Head, just a myth. I don't think it's real, but I think that that's kind of what it's like. Is like, oh, you hear your mom calling you, and it happens sometimes because I live out here. My mom will be inside, and I hear my mom calling me from like the fields because I live by the fields, and I'm like, my mom's inside though. and it's kind of creepy. And I've had that small creepy things like that happening, and then I'll hear her calling. I live by fields, and I live at the edge of town, and then there's the fields, and there's my house. So I'll hear her calling from the alleyway, the dark, creepy alleyways that lead to the fields and the schools. And then I'm by the fields, and I'll hear my mom calling me, or my dad, or my brother, and I'm like they're inside asleep, because I'll get back from the gym late or something. And then the other thing that I'd like to mention is that no one really correlates them with aliens around here. When we know there's like a curse, we just associate it with, the Indians getting killed, because that's what it said. The Indians cursed the land, and we just assume the land is cursed, and we know why it's cursed. We know the full story. We know what happened. We have these accounts from these older Indians who tell us what happened. They tell them, and then the land was cursed after they killed them, or we hear it from like the cowboys and stuff. We hear it from our elders. And I am very white. I'm very white, but I was born here. I was raised around a bunch of Indians, all kinds of different people. But the point is, I hear it from their grandparents, and I'll hear it from their parents, and they'll be talking about the past and the history of the area. And so I don't think the correlation for me is aliens, but I honestly think that it's curses. And I'm not saying that it's a fact. I'm trying to explain something very unscientific through a scientific viewpoint, which I think has been a lot of my problem, is because how are you supposed to explain something paranormal scientifically? You just can't. And so I think that if it was possible for these to exist, they wouldn't be from around here. So the last thing I have to cover about skinwalkers is what their motivation is, and I think that's curses. I think they're bad juju. I think they're bad omen. I think that there's something bad going on in your life. If something like that visits you, I think there's something it wants you. I just think they're just there to destroy. I think they're there to curse land. I think they're there to be problematic. And I'll be talking about skinwalkers and referencing a lot because they're usually in a lot of my stories where skinwalkers will just show up. Now, the question is, have I ever seen a skinwalker? I'm talking about personal experiences now. I'll be honest, totally out there. I think I have, but I can't really be sure because I'll be driving at night and then I'll see something weird in my mirror or behind us. But there's this one time I went out at night with my friends. It's the middle of the night, going out on bikes in the back roads, and this was the last time I ever did it. And this was 4 years ago. I was really young. I was like 12, 13 years old. And we went on the back roads, and then something started chasing us. And we're zooming down this road, and it's behind us. It's white. It's crawling. We don't know what it is. It didn't look like a wolf. It didn't look like a coyote. I've seen coyotes out there. I've seen huge, scary coyotes, like bigger than my dog coyotes, almost as big as like a small motorcycle coyotes. And it was not that. It was something else. And then we've seen creepy things out our window and all stuff, all sorts of stuff like that. And I think it's probable that skinwalkers are real, but I also think it's probable that they're not really from, how do I say this without sounding crazy? Like, not from our world, because I think that our world is governed by laws of physics and, science. And I think that it'd be probable that if it was from a different world, that it wouldn't have to follow our laws of physics, science, or the world. And plus, there's space-time anomalies, and you have all these things that could happen that could correlate to what a skinwalker is. And now I think there's a fairly scientific reason for it. Do I know what it is? No. No, I don't. I'm going to try. I know this is a little all over the place, but I'm trying to like cover it in order. And I've covered what a skinwalker is. I've covered stories. I've covered folklore. I've covered how they happen. I think they come with bad land or curses. And what they do. I don't know exactly what they do. All I know is they're scary, and I've heard scary, scary things about them trying to kill people. So I think they're there to just destroy, and I think they're there to curse land. And if you ever see a skinwalker, you're supposed to do nothing. Like, when I say nothing, there's really no running from it. There's no getting away from it. And we were trying to, I remember when I was younger. But, like, there's just, you're screwed. It's from what I've heard, and there's, like, the experience of people that have survived. But I also think there's experience of people that didn't survive. And we're never going to hear those accounts. To finish off, I would like to talk about, basically, trying to think. Well, this is really, like, to finish off, I'd like to talk about how people try and avoid this, because there's a lot of what's considered spiritual anomalies in Mexico, and I'm saying it like it's a fact, because honestly, if you come around here, it's kind of just like a well-known fact, unless you're like some big skeptic that wasn't born around here. There's something up. There's something up. There's nothing out here. And so I think the reason I notice it more and we notice it more in New Mexico is because there's nothing. And I think this goes on all over the world. And since we live in a desert and it's a desolate place, we have nothing to do, so we pay more attention to our surroundings. And that's why we hear about it more here than we do in other areas. And that's the note I want to end off on is pay more attention and maybe you'll notice something too. As always, though, don't get caught up in it. It's just a hoax, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know it's a little bit ranty and rambly, and if you have questions, you obviously can comment them. I still have a gracious 5 subscribers, so if you want to subscribe and like, maybe I'm a very, very, very desperate high schooler who really, really wants more subscribers. And also, oh yeah, questions in the comments. I'll answer them. I will get first-hand accounts. I'll comment sources, whatever you need. Because I really don't know what questions you'd want answered. And if you have something you want answered, you want something to know about, ask it in the comment section. There's only 5 of you. I think I can handle. I think I can handle it for now. For now. Maybe I'll become famous. Who knows? Oh yeah. Bye.